Howdy, here's everything you need to know for the upcoming Spider-Man Brand New Day movie coming up on July 31st. Before we start, I would like you to go ahead and click the subscribe button so you don't miss anything else coming from either Marvel or any other movie coming up. We are going to cover the history of Spider-Man, Hulk, Punisher, and some history behind the villain organization they call the Hand, since they seem to be the people that Spider-Man is fighting in the movie, or at least in the trailer.
Wait.
So, spoiler warning if you haven't seen any of that, or maybe you were here because you don't want to go and see all that, but still, I'm gonna give a spoiler warning before we start. So we start all the way back in Iron Man 2, where a young Peter Parker attends Star SO. We get this kid to be Peter Parker, confirmed by Kevin Feige, where he's in the Star Expo, where so it happens that the final battle of that movie occurs. Then we go to The Incredible Hulk, where Bruce Banner is working on recreating the super soldier serum from Dr. Erskine that was given to Captain America, but Bruce is trying to replicate it, doing an experiment with Gamma, giving Bruce Banner a double identity known as the Hulk. He then moves to Brazil to practice to control his rage when Thunderbolt Ross goes to arrest him. He comes back to the US and reconnects with Betty Ross, who in that movie is his love interest. Thunderbolt Ross is trying to stop the Hulk. He gives Emil Blonsky part of the super soldier serum that he has frozen. Emil Blonsky is a former special ops commander of the British Royal Marines, and with a drop of blood from Bruce Banner, he becomes the Abomination and battles the Hulk. And apparently he flees the scene before he gets captured. Then we see him back in the Avengers movie, where he is recruited by Black Widow while he hides in the middle of India. Then he joins the Avengers, where at first he just wanted to work to locate the Tesseract that contains one of the 6 Infinity Stones that Loki currently has. But when one of Loki's attacks happens to the Helicarrier, the Hulk is unleashed and he has a fight with Thor. And then during the fight, he ends up being sent out flying from the Helicarrier, and then he rejoins the Avengers in the Battle of New York. Once they defeat the Chitauri, he presumably leaves with Iron Man and continues the Science Bros. While the Battle of New York is finished, a guy named Adrian Toomes and his crew are employed to clean up after the Avengers, but in the middle of it, an agency created and founded by Tony Stark called Damage Control, who are the agency that has cleaned up after every superhero battle, comes in and kicks his crew out, but not before they get some of the Chitauri tech for themselves and start creating weapons to sell in the dark market. Then we go to Avengers Age of Ultron, where we get to see the Hulk back in action with the Avengers, and we see how he has come to get closer to Black Widow, and she is seemingly the only one to calm down the Hulk.
Sun's getting real low.
Then the Avengers stop Ultron, which Bruce Banner had a hand in creating, and at the end we see that Hulk is he leaves Earth in a Quinjet, since in Earth he's considered to be a monster more than a hero, and he doesn't feel good living here. Then we jump to Daredevil season 2 from the Netflix, not the Born Again season just yet. we are introduced to the mysterious underground organization known as the Hand, an ancient group of highly skilled ninjas who have operated in the shadows for centuries. They become one of Daredevil's greatest threats and are searching for the Black Sky, a person they believe possesses immense power and will help them achieve their goals. The Hand believe that this person is Elektra Natchios, Matt Murdock's former college girlfriend who has a connection to their prophecy. During this time, Daredevil encounters Frank Castle, also known as the Punisher. Frank is a former Marine whose family was murdered after accidentally witnessing a conspiracy involving criminals, organized crime, and corrupt members of the military. After believing the justice system failed him, Frank becomes a ruthless vigilante who hunts down those responsible for violence and corruption. Unlike Daredevil, who believes criminals should face the law, Frank believes some people only deserve punishment. After being arrested for his killings, Frank is defended in court by Matt Murdock, but the trial fails when Frank confesses to his actions. He is sentenced to prison where he eventually...
Hell, I love it! I'm sitting here, I'm just itching. I'm itching to do it again, and you think what? You think you're gonna send me to a nut house? Some doctor, they're gonna get me to stop from doing what I want to do? Well, that ain't happening! Not on my watch!
crosses path with Wilson Fisk, who is known as the Kingpin. Fisk uses Frank's reputation and abilities to gain power inside the prison before both men eventually return to the outside world. In Punisher Season 1 from Netflix, Frank discovers that his family's death was connected to a larger conspiracy involving his military unit and corrupt officials. After uncovering the truth and taking down those responsible, Frank fully accepts his identity as the Punisher. In The Punisher Season 2, Frank continues his mission against criminals while protecting Amy Bendix, a young woman caught in a dangerous conspiracy. He also faces his former friend Billy Russo, who becomes Jigsaw. After defeating Russo, Frank embraces his role as a vigilante who will continue fighting crime in his own terms. Meanwhile, Daredevil joins Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, and Danny Rand, who is Iron Fist, in the Defenders to stop the Hand. They discover Elektra truly is the Black Sky and defeat the organization, but Daredevil is believed to have died during the final battle. Then we go to Captain America Civil War, where we are first introduced to our MCU Spider-Man. So the part where he's in Iron Man, that was later canonized, so that's why I included it. But now he's fully in MCU after Sony agreed to share the character with Marvel. And we see him get recruited by Tony Stark after he has to face Captain America, the Falcon, Bucky, Hawkeye, Ant-Man, and Wanda, who is the Scarlet Witch. In the battle in the German airport, we see him face off by first getting Captain America's shield, then dropping some pop culture references while defeating Giant Man, and after trying to fist fight Captain America, he becomes exhausted and is told to go home. Then we continue to Spider-Man Homecoming, where we see Spider-Man in the aftermath of the battle at the airport and trying to stay ready for when Tony Stark wants Spider-Man again by checking in with Happy Hogan via text messages that apparently he's still reading, even though he hasn't responded to a single one from Peter, while he's trying to balance that while being a high school kid. One night he encounters that some people are trying to rob a bank, so he goes to stop them. He encounters robbers that have some new special weapons, and by accident a deli across the street gets destroyed. Peter tells Happy, but he tells Peter that those things are covered. When Peter goes home, he comes through his room, but through the window, and without knowing that Ned was there waiting for Peter, since they were going to build the Lego Death Star together, he accidentally outs himself to Ned, and then Ned becomes his guy in the chair after finding out that he's Peter Parker and asking a bunch of questions about what Peter's abilities are. Then Peter tries to impress his romantic interest in this movie, Liz Allen. Then Peter goes to a ferry where he knows that some of the weapons are going to be sold. While he is there, he disrupts the sale, but ends up splitting the ferry in half and tries to hold it together when Iron Man comes to help, and after Peter and Tony talk, but Peter ends up disappointing Tony and takes his suit
And I wanted you to be better.
from him. While Peter thinks that everything's done for, he asks Liz to go to prom with him, which she says yes. And when Peter goes to her house to pick her up, he finds out that Adrian Toomes is her father. Before they get dropped off at prom, Toomes tells Peter that he knows who he is, and he better watch out and keep Liz away from all of this. While enjoying prom, Peter knows that Toomes is going to go after the plane that is taking everything from the former Avengers Tower to their new location after Tony sold the tower and moved to a facility in upstate New York. Peter then leaves prom and puts on his homemade suit and goes after Toomes and defeats him. Tony Stark takes Peter to the new Avengers facility where he is going to show the world the newest member of the Avengers. But Peter refuses, stating that he should stick to the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. Then we go to Thor Ragnarok. After Odin's death, Thor and Loki's sister Hela, the goddess of death, returns and takes control of Asgard. Thor is sent to the planet Sakaar, where he discovers Hulk has been living for years as a gladiator. Unlike Earth, where Hulk is feared, the people of Sakaar celebrate him for being the gladiator and winning, causing Hulk to refuse to leave and return to being Bruce Banner. Hulk and Thor then battle in the gladiator arena and presumably tied.
You and I had a fight recently.
Did I win?
No, I won easily.
Doesn't sound right.
Well, it's true.
Then, trying to escape, Thor eventually uses an old Quinjet and a message from Natasha to bring back Bruce's memories, transforming Hulk back into Bruce. Thor then forms the Revengers with Loki and Valkyrie and Hulk to defeat Hela. They save the people of Asgard, but Thor destroys Asgard to stop Hela, escaping with the survivors to find a new home. After this, we go to Avengers Infinity War. At the beginning of the movie, Thanos defeats the Hulk and Thor easily, and showing how powerful Thanos is before he has the 6 Infinity Stones. Then, before his last breath, Heimdall sends Hulk to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where he warns Doctor Strange and Tony Stark that Thanos is coming to collect the stones. But while confronting some of the members of the Black Order, Hulk refuses to come out, either because Thanos scared him or because he's tired of doing Banner's battles. While Iron Man and Doctor Strange battle Ebony Maw and Cold Obsidian, Peter, while he's in a bus returning from a school field trip, he senses the battle going on and goes to help the fight. Then the Black Order get Doctor Strange into their ship and Iron Man, and then Iron Man and Spider-Man go after. And we get to see Peter get his new suit, the Iron Spider, and go to space to the planet Titan, that is Thanos' planet, where he where he told Ebony Maw to go when they had the stones for him. Meanwhile, Bruce is on Earth and gathers the rest of the heroes and helps the fight against Thanos while wearing the Hulkbuster, an armor that was made by Tony Stark and Bruce Banner in Avengers Age of Ultron as a plan for when the Hulk comes back raging. And he wears that since the Hulk doesn't want to come out. Meanwhile, in Titan, Spider-Man, Iron Man, and Doctor Strange join the Guardians of the Galaxy to fight against Thanos. When they lose because someone couldn't control their chill, Doctor Strange gives Thanos the Time Stone to spare their life. Then Thanos goes to Earth to fight with the rest of the heroes, and when they fail to defeat Thanos, he snaps his fingers and half every living being gets dusted. This includes Peter Parker, but not Bruce Banner. Then in Avengers Endgame, we jump forward 5 years where Ant-Man comes back from the quantum realm. He goes with Steve Rogers and Natasha in the Avengers compound and convinces them to try to use the quantum realm to go through time, through the past, and do the time heist. But they go to ask Tony Stark for help. At first, he says no, but while cleaning some dishes, he cleans a picture he had with Peter, and that convinces Tony Stark to help and create time travel. The non-dusted heroes go back in time to collect the 6 Infinity Stones from the past. When they come back with the Infinity Stones, they have Hulk snap everyone back because they say that the Infinity Stones contain some gamma radiation which it won't affect the Hulk as much as other heroes.
I was made for this.
But when he does this, he successfully brings everyone back, but he gets a nasty arm. Then everyone comes back to help fight Thanos, and we see the dusted heroes come back through Doctor Strange's portal. And then the Avengers defeat Thanos this time, but Tony Stark makes the last sacrifice by snapping his finger and dusting away Thanos' army, and then he eventually dies from snapping the fingers. Then we go to Spider-Man Far From Home, where we see the ramifications of the snap and how the rest of the world was affected when the reverse snap happened. While we see Peter is grieving the loss of Tony and he wants to take a break from being Spider-Man, he takes a school field trip to Europe and is planning to ask MJ out while they are in Europe. They are attacked by an elemental, which is a villain that Mysterio manufactured, and Spider-Man tries to help, but he left his suit in the hotel. After this, Nick Fury breaks into Peter's hotel and takes him to meet Mysterio, where he explains that he is a hero from another universe, explaining how the multiverse is real. But of course, he's full of bullshit because he's just telling a story, which turns out to be true, that the multiverse does exist, just that he's not from the multiverse and he technically doesn't know.
He's out of line, but he's right.
Then they decide to team up while Peter's field trip is moved to another city. They ride a bus there, and Peter takes out some glasses that Nick Fury gave Peter that Tony Stark left him. He puts them on and realizes that they contain the AI Edith, and uses them to almost kill Brad, one of his classmates who is seen flirting with MJ, but stops the drones when they get to their destination. Another elemental attacks the school, and Peter dons another suit, not his usual one, and helps Mysterio with the elemental attack. And Ned gives him the name of Night Monkey. Then, after defeating the elemental, Peter goes to the bar where Quentin Beck Mysterio is and hands him the Edith glasses because he thinks that he is the next Iron Man. But that is what Mysterio wanted, since the glasses control Tony Stark's drones, and that he wants them to be able to make his illusions feel and look more realistic than they already are. And when Peter leaves, we see that we get the whole Mysterio's full story formed by his team, who are all ex-employees of Stark, and then Peter's field trip is moved to England, and Peter and MJ go on a walk, and MJ shows that she kept one of Mysterio's cameras that was left there to prove that Peter is Spider-Man, since she has been thinking and noticing him leaving. And then they realize that Mysterio is fake, and he goes on to warn Nick Fury, but he's inside one of Mysterio's illusions and gets hit by a train and sent to the Netherlands, where he is in prison. After he gets out, he calls Happy to come pick him up. Then while in the jet, he makes another Spider-Man suit, just like Tony Stark would have done, and goes to England, where Mysterio is going to make another attack, and this attack will be towards Peter's school trip. So he goes there with the help of Happy and sends Happy to help his friends. After that, Peter defeats Mysterio and saves everyone from his illusions, and Peter gets together with MJ, sharing a kiss in the London Bridge. And then they all return to New York, and before the end of the movie, we see that Mysterio outs Spider-Man to the rest of the world, telling that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. Then we go to Spider-Man No Way Home, where Peter is trying to figure out life after Mysterio revealed his identity to the world, after Peter, Ned, and MJ are rejected from MIT because of the controversies surrounding Spider-Man. Peter asks Doctor Strange to cast a spell that will make everyone forget that he is Spider-Man. However, Peter keeps changing the spell, causing it to fail, and pulling people from other universes who know who Peter Parker is and that he is Spider-Man into our universe, the MCU one. This brings the Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, Sandman from Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, as well as Electro and the Lizard from Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, as well as Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man to the MCU. Doctor Strange wants to send the villains back immediately, but Peter learns that most of them will die when they return to the universes, believing everyone deserves a second chance. Peter steals Strange's spell box and works with the other Spider-Man to cure each villain instead of sending them home, while trying to cure Norman Osborn. The Green Goblin's personality takes over. Norman attacks Happy Hogan's apartment, kills Aunt May, and destroys the cures. But before dying, May leaves Peter with one final lesson.
And with great power, there must also come great responsibility.
Which is part of Spider-Man's lore, that in every universe, Ben Parker needs to die so that Spider-Man learns that lesson. Broken by her death, Peter nearly gives up until Tobey and Andrew find him. The theory is Spider-Man work together to recreate the cures and face the villains at the Statue of Liberty. Before the villains come, they all come together and realize it doesn't have web shooters and has natural webbing, which they ask if it only comes from the wrists.
Does it just come out of your wrists, or does it come out of anywhere else?
Only the wrists.
After curing them all, Tom's Peter almost is about to kill Norman Osborn in revenge, but Toby stops him. Peter instead cures Norman before asking Doctor Strange to cast one final spell that makes everyone forget who Peter Parker even existed, sending everyone back to their own universe. And Peter chooses not to tell MJ and Ned the truth, sacrificing his own happiness to protect the people around him. After finding out that MJ and Ned got into MIT and are finally happy. Meanwhile, in New York, where Daredevil is battling the Kingpin so that he doesn't arrest and detain all the vigilantes, since Daredevil believes that the legal way will have justice, he goes to a hideout where Frank Castle is hiding, and we see the Punisher and Daredevil fight together for a bit before Frank sees that the police officers that are working under the Kingpin have adopted his skull symbol and are trying to show how they look up to Frank and misunderstand the meaning of the skull. He basically spits in their face and he gets arrested and thrown into the Kingpin's dungeon, where he later escapes and flees the main New York area and goes into hiding. Then we catch up to Frank in The Punisher One Last Kill, where he finishes the job of taking down the mob family that killed his family and realizes after almost committing self-death that he indeed needs to continue as the Punisher, and that makes it so that that's not the final kill, and then he continues killing on and apparently shows up in Spider-Man Brand New Day. That was also why he wasn't in the last season of Daredevil Born Again, because he was somewhere there fighting with Spider-Man. And that is everything you need to know before going to the Brand New Day movie. If you like the recap, please go follow my Instagram with the same handle, Faraway Not Given, and subscribe and like this video. See you until the next one.